Hello, my name is Merlyn the Dragon Alchemist, and today we'll be talking about communicating with dragons. Now, there's a lot of ways you can communicate with the dragons, like signs, divination, dreams, astral travel, meditation, many different ways. Before I dive deeper into those methods, I want to give a disclaimer because your mental health and mindset and just the way you are perceiving things can affect the messages that you get from the dragons. When you're communicating with them, it's important to try to stay neutral and grounded to really get the full message and not have it interrupted by your personal biases. But also just really try to stay grounded when you are doing this, because sometimes a message could make you spiral, or maybe it's a omen of bad things are happening. Please take a step back if a message is making you spiral or they aren't resonating or fitting well. Sometimes the dragons will literally refuse to use a certain type of divination or divination in general and force you to use your psychic abilities more or just take a break. It's very healthy to take breaks on a spiritual practice. Never feel guilty for doing that. It takes time to learn divination and your best ways of communicating with them. And not everyone is going to have the skills of communicating them with one way, where you might be really good in another way that's not even discovered yet. There's many different ways you can do this, guys. The dragons and you want to grow, right? So stepping out of your comfort zone is the way to do that. And they will force you to be doing that a lot on the dragon path, sadly. Not sadly. We'll figure it out, right? So branch out and don't be afraid to try new methods and ways of doing so. We are all working through that doubt and imposter syndrome that comes up on the spiritual path. So the dragons are really good at getting you to believe in yourself, in your abilities, and mostly in them, because they will send you the craziest signs and you guys will have the funnest time communicating together. But my biggest PSA, and then we'll dive into the rest, is take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Even if you're getting readings from other people or on TikTok or even myself, if it doesn't resonate with you, that's fine. Just take what does and leave what doesn't. Don't stress yourself out by believing in a million different perspectives. Yours is what matters. Communicating with dragons can be incredibly enlightening or completely maddening, as they speak through riddles and they make you work for the answers. It has taken me years to fully comprehend some of the answers that I have gotten, and I am thankful that I have written them down mostly over the years, so when I go back, I have a broader perspective and I'm able to put together a lot of things that I wasn't at first. So that's also another thing you can do if a reading doesn't resonate, is wait and be patient, because answers come in time, and sometimes the dragons know that you aren't ready to know certain things at certain times. So dragons are influencing our daily lives all the time, so you can invite them to do that even more, to communicate, sending signs and all that fun stuff. But also, if you are going through something that you need to learn on your spiritual path, for example, I'm learning about the planetary energies and alchemy, so I'm having them directly affect my life so I can understand these archetypes. When you invite them to affect your everyday lives, that's going to be affecting your divination sessions and your dreams and your meditations and all that fun stuff. But the most important things the dragons love is when you take your life experiences and you analyze them and see what lessons and themes and messages they have to tell you. For example, the Venus dragons had me on a self-love journey by forcing me on isolation, by limiting my access to my spirit team and distraction. And another example is the Mercury dragons glitched out some technology, forcing me to use my creativity, and the Mars dragons pushing my boundaries to test my resolve. Communicating with dragons and the divine in general goes beyond words, and it takes using your intuition to really get that. It's a constant stream one can tune into, constantly be a student of the universe, and you are sure to gain some wisdom. As above, so below, what affects the mystical affects the spiritual, and vice versa. The dragons work very closely with your psychic gifts and even can help you gain the abilities of certain ones that have been lacking, or calm down certain abilities that have been overwhelming to you. Like if you are seeing spirits and you don't want to, they can help protect you and put up that boundary. But each psychic ability has a name, and they are called the clairsenses. So you have the clairvoyance, which is clear seeing. This is when you see things in meditation, or you see energy physically like auras, or you see the energy of dragons. Then you have clairaudience, which is clear hearing. So this is when you're going to be hearing messages, and maybe it's not actually physically hearing it, maybe you're hearing it in your mind's eye kind of, or it's in your voice or a different voice inside of your head. And then you have clairsentience, which is clear feeling, and this is when you're going to be getting gut feelings, or you have deep knowings that you know something, and maybe even you're getting downloads is what they also call it. There's lots of different types of clairs, and everyone has the ability to train these, obviously, but some is not going to come as easier as it is for others, so please be patient and just don't force it, because that makes it so much worse. I was trying to see dragons for so long when I first started this, and it was right when I let go of that need is when one finally showed up to me in meditation. Dragons will always prefer you using your own gifts rather than relying off of an outside tool, as this is where your communication is really going to be happening. But divination is super fun, so let's go over the different ways of divination. Some of these divination tools I even make an offer in my shop below, and I even offer some custom options, so if you want something special for your dragons, let me know and I would love to create something with you. So first off is tarot and oracle, which is the first thing people think of when they probably think of divination. They are very fun to use. I personally prefer oracle decks in my readings more because sometimes I'm just not ready for the brute harsh reality of what tarot cards can offer sometimes. But I do offer dragon connection readings if you want to discover any dragons connected to you. And then we have charm readings, which I just recently created my own dragon charm box, and I do readings for that for you guys now, which is super fun because I've collected lots of charms and gave them all a specific purpose and meaning, and then when you put it on the board that has the elements on it, it has specific messages for each place and charm, and it's just super fun to have a different way of readings because I really have only done dragon connection readings for you guys for so long. And then we have pendulum, which can be super fun or super annoying depending on if you are trusting yourself or asking the right questions. And I do make pendulums and pendulum boards. Pendulums is great for yeses and nos, and pendulum boards is great if you want something spelled for you. And I used a pendulum to get my dragon's name the first time, and I actually didn't have a pendulum board, so I sat here giving them every letter, making them say yes and no for every letter to get something to be spelled out. So you can get creative and make your own pendulum and pendulum board by just writing stuff down or using a pendant. Next we have runes. I also make runes. I have little tiny baby ones and then bigger ones. It is super fun if you are also a reconnecting Norse pagan and work with dragons because you can kind of connect the two. Divination dice is another one I've been exploring on, and every single dice, you can use your D&D dice. Every single dice has correspondence, so the 20 dice is going to be connected to each of the tarot cards and different elements and archetypes for every single dice. It's been super fun. And then there's lots of other different types of readings and divination, like scrying, candle wax reading, tea leaf readings, palm readings, reading the smoke, and the clouds. Each of these ways of divination can be chosen and picked out and used based on your intentions or the dragons you are connecting with. Like a water dragon might prefer tea leaf readings over scrying with candle wax. And it's important to remember if the reading isn't resonating, it could be because you are asking the wrong questions, or you are resisting the real answer. So take a step back and trust yourself, reevaluate, and come back with a clearer mind. And if all else fails, just try something new. Alright, so meditation. This is going to be a very common one. And some people with ADHD might be like, dude, I can't meditate. Well, I have ADHD and I figured it out. You don't have to literally sit down and meditate. You could be going on a walk, you could be singing, you could be dancing, you could be doing art. It's just having that mindset of mindfulness. So it's really just breathing and grounding and clearing your thoughts with the dragons. See what comes through with maybe symbols or messages, and feelings could even be telling you something from the dragons. But meditations aren't always just to communicate, sometimes it's just to clear your mind. Next up is Astral. I can't officially astral travel, but my meditations are kind of like that. And I am a beginner in this, but there are some people in our Discord that are much more experienced, so go talk in the Astral's channel if you guys want to talk more about that. I would be happy to participate in these conversations. I find the Astral so fascinating, and it is a rich goldmine to learn and experience things in. Just make sure you are being careful and smart and safe, and you are letting your dragons guide you during your trips. Dragon dreams. Dragon dreams are my favorite, and they're the biggest messages I would be getting in the first part of my path. These can be prophetic or they can be symbolic, so it's really just on how you're going to be interpreting these dreams. Not every dream interpretation is going to match yours, so you can share your dreams on our Discord channel. We have a dream server and where we interpret each other's dreams or just share our dreams, because sometimes there's some whack stuff that happens. But dragons send you messages through your dreams, even if it's not a dragon dream, if that makes sense. You don't need to be seeing a full dragon in your dreams. You can have just a normal dream and just know that that was a message from the dragons. And what I like to do is every night before I fall asleep, I invite the dragons to invade my dreams, basically. Give me signs, messages, or show up in my dreams. And sometimes they pull through, sometimes they don't, but you know what? I don't even dream most of the time anyway, so I've been happy with meditations. So my tips for dreams is to sleep next to orgonite, and to keep a dream journal, and maybe even try blue lotus tea. So communicating daily with the dragons, they are going to connect directly with your mind, so pay attention to what you are thinking when you are seeing certain signs from the dragons. For example, thinking of someone when you are seeing a shooting star, or the other day I finally got the guts to leave my dragon den and I instantly saw a car with a dragon sticker as I was like, hell yeah, I'm not a hermit. And that was a dragon's like, hell yeah, keep exploring and spreading your wings. There is lots of different things, like maybe a song that plays that answers your question that you were just thinking. Follow the omens and pay attention to your visions or thoughts, because I remember in the story The Alchemist, this boy sees two hawks all of a sudden break out into a fight, and he instantly gets visions of tribal warfare happening. And so just maybe your feelings on the certain signs tells you what the sign is even for, because signs can be confusing as you're like, is that the dragon saying hi, or are they telling me something more? When you are growing your abilities and communicating so often, it is easy to get lost in anxiety and depression, and some people even spiritual psychosis. So never do too much. If you're in the air too much, you will be lost to the wind. And it's important to stay connected with the earth and your body. This whole experience is why we're here, not to communicate with dragons, but to be our best selves and connect with nature in the best way possible. Dragons just know how to do that really well. Any spiritual path can worsen if you are trying too hard to communicate with the divine. So take breaks and do things at your own pace. Don't be comparing your path and your ways of communicating to others, because not every interaction is going to be a TikTok comedy skit. That's for entertainment purposes, and we over exaggerate that stuff dramatically. We are just analyzing small little interactions and signs we saw into a human experience that we can laugh to a funny little song or audio. At the end of the day, you are human and they are not. They are going to have communication barriers, and plus they aren't even like a divine deity where they can speak English. Like, lots of dragons speak in growls and Draconic and telepathically. Like, you aren't always going to be getting clear riddles and clear messages all the time. Don't be discouraged if you're not. Maybe over time you can learn Draconic, and over time you can develop your abilities, but just be patient. You can't force them, because what you chase runs. Just like the dragons, you have to let the messages come to you. I hope this gives you guys a starting point on communicating with your dragons, as it is necessary on the Draconic path, as that's what the Draconic path is all about. It's working with dragons. And you need those communication skills to learn and grow and get permission for certain things, because most of the stuff that you communicate with the dragons you are not going to be able to share. And what you know you can share and can't share is going to make or break you, and you don't want to break the dragon's trust with you, because they already barely trust humans, and we're just here trying our best. Please subscribe if you want to learn more about dragons, because I'm going to be making a lot more videos here, and I also have Instagram and TikTok, and I educate people on Patreon. And we also do monthly customs over there too. If you want custom dragon art, I offer lots of fun combinations on my site with like altar boxes and all of the fun divination tools I was telling you guys about. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.